You've been told your money problems are a personal failure, that if you just budgeted better, skipped the latte, and worked harder, you'd be free. It's the most profitable lie ever told. It's not your failure. It's a design. You replaying in a casino where the rules were written by the dealers to ensure the house always wins, and the proof isn't some conspiracy theory. It's a piece of 1978 tax legislation that nobody, not even its creator, thought would change the world. To understand the cage you're in, you don't need to look at your bank account. You need to look at your grandparents. Imagine a world, not so long ago, where the word retirement meant something concrete. It meant a promise, a pact. You gave your working life to a company, General Motors, IBM, AT&T, and the company, in return, gave you a pension, a check every single month, from the day you stopped working to the day you died. The key concept here isn't the money, it's the risk. Who shouldered the risk? The company. If the stock market crashed, that was their problem. If inflation skyrocketed, that was their problem. If you lived to beat, you had fulfilled your end of the bargain. The responsibility, the burden, the sleepless nights, they belonged to the corporation. The system was called defined benefit, because the benefit to you was guaranteed. It was an anchor. It might not have made you rich, but it stopped you from drowning. The narrative of the era was collective security, the idea that a society, through its corporations and its government, had an obligation to create a floor below which you could not fall. It was the culmination of the New Deal, the hangover from the Great Depression. The memory of collapse was too fresh. No one would dare suggest that an individual should navigate the sharks of Wall Street on their own. It would be like handing a man a raft and telling him to cross the Atlantic. Insanity. Now, hold that image in your mind. The promise, the security, the risk assumed by the institution, and now, let's travel to 1978. The American economy is in tatters. Stagflation, a toxic brew of economic stagnation and high inflation. The great corporations, the same ones promising pensions for life, are bleeding. Those pension promises, once a symbol of their power, are now a lead anchor on their balance sheets. They're expensive. They're unpredictable. They're an unsustainable liability. They need a way out, desperately. Enter a benefits consultant named Ted Benna. He's not a Bond villain. He's not a robber baron. He's a smart guy, a technician. He's combing through the newly passed Revenue Act of 1978, a dense, boring tax document, and he finds something. A little clause, Section 401, almost an afterthought. The clause allowed employees to defer compensation, like bonuses, without paying immediate taxes on it. Its original intent was simple: to let high-paid executives defer taxes on their big bonuses. It was a tool for the rich, but Benna had an idea, an epiphany. What if we use this loophole, not just for executives, but for everyone? What if instead of the company putting money into a pension fund it has to guarantee, the company simply matches a small piece of what the employee themselves chooses to save from their own paycheck? The genius of the idea was not for the employee, it was for the corporation. Watch the alchemy. Watch the sleight of hand. With a pension, the risk is 100% on the company. With a 401 plan, the risk is 100% on the employee. The company no longer promises an outcome. It only promises a contribution. The rest is on you. Your problem. Your responsibility. The market crashes 40% right before you retire. Tough luck. Your problem. You picked the wrong funds, riddled with predatory fees hidden in the fine print. Your mistake. Your problem. Inflation eats away your savings. You should have planned for it. Your problem. You live longer than expected and run out of money. You should have saved more. Your problem. Corporations were quick to see the gold in Benna's idea. They began freezing and killing their pension plans and offering these shiny, new 401 plans, and they sold it as a revolution of empowerment. The language was brilliant. They told you, we're giving you control, the power to choose. Be the architect of your own financial future. Freedom. They didn't give you freedom. They transferred the entirety of the risk to you. They took away a defined benefit system and swapped it for a defined contribution. The difference is the difference between a promise and a gamble, and they forced you to take a seat at the poker table. Ted Benna himself, the father of the 401, has said publicly that if he knew what it would evolve into, he would have blown it to smithereens. He called it a monster that has gotten out of control. He watched his tax loophole become the primary weapon used to dismantle the retirement security of the American working class, and, by extension, the Western world. And this is where history collides violently with you. Here you are, at midnight, phone in hand, staring at a colorful chart on an investment app that promises to democratize finance. You feel that knot in your stomach. Should you buy that tech stock? Sell that crypto? What the hell is a Vanguard ETF versus a Fidelity index fund? Are you saving enough? Are you too exposed to the market? Too conservative? That anxiety you feel is not a character flaw. That confusion is not a sign of your ignorance. That paralyzing fear of making the wrong move is not your fault. That anxiety, that confusion, and that fear are the direct echo of the corporate decision to transfer risk onto you. They are a design feature of the system you were forced into. You have been turned into a part-time, untrained, unpaid investment fund manager with your entire future on the line. They told you the key is financial literacy, that if you just read enough blogs, listen to enough podcasts, and follow the right gurus on social media, you can win the game. But they didn't tell you the game is rigged from the start. The very existence of the personal finance industry is proof of the fraud. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that feeds on the anxiety the system itself created. They sell courses, books, seminars, and advice to fix a problem that was deliberately manufactured. They are selling you shovels in a gold rush that doesn't exist for you. The language they use is revealing. Financial independence, freedom. It implies your current state is one of dependence and servitude, and only through their secrets can you escape. But what are you dependent on? You're dependent on a wage in a system that suppresses wages. You're dependent on a volatile stock market because they destroyed the stable alternative. They tell you to diversify, to invest for the long term, to not try to time the market. This is reasonable advice inside an unreasonable cage. It's like teaching a prisoner the best techniques for decorating his cell. It doesn't change the fact that he's in a cell. Every time you feel guilty for buying a coffee, that's not your financial conscience speaking. That is the voice of the system, telling you that any small pleasure is an act of sabotage against your own survival. They have gotten you to police yourself, to internalize. They have turned you into your own prison guard. Every time you see a self-made millionaire preach about hard work and abundance mindset, you are watching a lottery winner. Tell the crowd that the key is just picking the right numbers. They ignore the fundamental fact that the system requires millions of losers to produce a single winner. The uncomfortable truth is this: the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was redesigned to in the 1980s. It is working to minimize risk and costs for capital, and to maximize it for labor. You are labor. They have methodically dismantled every collective safety net. Pensions, strong unions, wages that kept pace with productivity. And in their place, they gave you an app on your phone and said, good luck. The solution is not finding the perfect index fund. The solution is not a tighter budget. Those are distractions. They are the breadcrumbs thrown on the floor to keep you from looking up and seeing the bars of the cage. The first, most crucial stage of liberation is to understand the nature of your imprisonment. It is to stop blaming yourself. It is to understand that your struggle is not an individual saga of financial virtue and vice, but the predictable outcome of a deliberate, historical shift. They took your security and sold it back to you as freedom. The entire edifice of personal finance rests on the premise of your guilt, your inadequacy, your failure. Demolishing that belief won't make you rich tomorrow, but it will give you back something far more valuable: your sanity, the clarity to see that you are not crazy. The system is, they stopped calling it corporate risk and started calling it personal responsibility. They've convinced you that the fault is yours, that your financial stress is a personal failure. But that burden you carry isn't yours to own. It was placed upon you. It is the echo of a system that deliberately transferred all the risk onto your shoulders and called it opportunity. Your anxiety isn't proof that you're losing the game. It's proof the game was rigged against you from the start.